G'day everyone, welcome back. I've got a lovely piece of camphor laurel on the lathe at the moment. It's about 17 inches in diameter by about 6.5 inches deep. And I'm just gonna show you the main ingredient to bowl coring, and that's the timber. I'll quickly show you how I rough out in this video. I'll show you how I form up the tenon, and then we will get into the next one with some bowl coring. So let's go. So I've got my 19mm bowl gouge by Woodcut tools. First I start by removing this corner. Hey guys, I just really wanted to show you something before we keep going, and it's how I hold my bowl gouge throughout this whole video and how I always present the tool to the timber when I'm turning or rough shaping. So I learnt this off my father-in-law, and then I honed it in watching Glenn Lucas and learning from him. The easiest way to explain it is if you pretend you're going to put your thumb in your pocket and hold your hand like that, and then you glide the handle into your hand like so, and that grasps the tool. So that's how I hold it, that's the angle. I obviously have the gouge facing the timber, and then if I'm shear scraping, that's how I do it with the tool on tool rest, but the handle is always facing downwards and the flute is nearly closed to the timber. So I'll show you how I do that, but that's how I hold the handle, and that's how I started. I have pretend my thumb is in my pocket, and then I slide the handle in my pocket, and that's the angle that I hold it down. And if I'm going the other way, same thing. My hand is down here, handle in, and that's how I hold the bowl gouge if I'm cutting with the opposite way. And I believe it's really important to cut with both hands, and it builds up that dexterity. And when you're faced with turning the other way, it's second nature after a while, and you can just roll on through it. I'm not an expert in any of this. I'm just showing you how I go about doing things to hopefully help someone else out that's in my position or wherever you are on your wood turning journey. And working my way to the top. There's nothing too big that will come off, but I'll stand out of the line of fire and add my shavings over this way. I also forgot to mention that I've moved the belt setting to the largest pulley to allow me to make some really heavy cuts on this bowl blank. Just wanted to add that in there because it's really important. because I've got this lovely piece of camphor laurel on a face plate, I'm just going to come back down to the base here and tidy up the base. It's on a 150mm diameter face plate with some heavy duty screws. I'm just going to take this base down a little bit, clean it up, make it nice and flat, and then form my chuck to get it ready to bowl core. And I push in and I swing my hip. Now that's flat. I have my left hand like an overgrasp grip on the gouge, using the left hand side of the wing, and I pull the gouge back towards myself. And then I make a little groove there. And now the wider and the flatter the base you have works for two things that I've found. The wider the chuck, the more stability and control you have over the bowl when you're coring it. So you have a better bite for the chuck to hold on to when you're coring with all the knives on the bowl saver. But also when it comes to drying, I've found that having a nice wide foot allows a bigger surface area for the bowls to sit on, and they don't all topple over if it's a smaller base. Yes. So let's mark up the chuck. So this is how I go about marking up the back of the bowl for the chuck. I've got the chuck jaws here, and I've just got them slightly open. I lay the dividers over the top of the face of the chuck, and I eyeball the tips of the dividers to the base in the corner down the bottom, and that will give me a perfect circle. The tool rest is at center height. The left side is the only side that touches, the right side shadows it. And because it's on the right hand side of the dividers, I know that I need to move my dividers to the right. And it is that line there. Tail stock back up for safety. That's all I need. The bowl coming off during a little demo. Right. And then I'm just going to remove down with the bowl gouge and then use my skew. And I'll show you how I do that. Handle down low. And I drive it in. My bowl gouge. I drive bowl gouge in and then sweep that side away. Drive in, clean. Drive in, clean. I drive in and then I clean. I drive in, there would be material there normally, and then I clean. The tool rests at the center height, roughly, just below, and I'm going to line up the corner of the skew and drive it in. I've got it running underneath my forearm like this, my index finger flat on the top of the skew. I lay it flat on the tool rest, I support it from underneath, and then I drive it in. I hope you're getting a lot out of these short mini videos that I'm making about the Woodcut bowl saver, and I needed to include this because this is the main ingredient after all. And now we've got this beautiful piece of camphor laurel shaped up, ready to go. Let's get into some bowl coring. I'm going to take this off, remove the face plate and chuck the chuck on, and I will see you in this video here where I core some bowls. See you there, talk to you directly.